Welcome to Spring Yin. My name is Jezelle and I will be your instructor for this practice. Today we will be journeying through a series of yin postures that will be targeting specific energy meridians that will associate with the season that we're in, spring. So whenever you're ready, you can find your way onto your back. You don't need any props for today's practice, just you, your mat, and maybe some water. If you have your hair tied in a ponytail, you have longer hair like me, take it out. You don't need that stress on your scalp during today's practice either. So I'll meet you in opening Shavasana. You can find your legs extended long and spread wide across your mat, allowing your feet to flop out to either side. And you can choose to open your practice in either an opening or receptive state, with your shoulder blades tucked, heart lifted, palms facing up to the sky, or you can turn your palms down to connect with the earth. If you choose to ground your energy with your hands down on the earth, see if it feels better to connect the hands to the earth or hands onto your belly and or onto your heart. If you have any low back tension, feel free to bend your knees, plant your feet, shift your tailbone towards your heels, and drop your knees into each other. Take a few moments here to begin to center your mind within your body as you connect to your breath. With every inhale, bringing yourself into the present moment, noticing how the breath moves in and through you. And with every exhale, releasing and letting go of any thoughts that are outside of this present moment, anything associated with the past or the future. I invite you to take your next breath in slowly through your nose. Fill your lungs to their fullest capacity. When you reach your peak in fullness, hold and notice what it feels like to be completely full. On your exhale, release everything out of your lungs all the way to the bottom of your breath. When you reach the very bottom of your breath, hold. Push out that last bit of air and notice what it feels like to be completely empty. Take your next breath in slowly. Draw in for about 4 counts or whatever count feels right for you that's not too full. And release for the exact same count number so that you're not too empty, creating a balance between your inhale and your exhale. This balanced breath is known as samavriti, and this balanced breath will be your guide for today's practice. Continue your balanced breath, and this time feel the energy draw up from the earth into your entire body. And as you exhale, soften and allow every single muscle to melt towards the floor, letting go of any tension that you're still hanging on to at this time. Allowing your eyebrows to grow wider across your forehead, relaxing your scalp, your temples, your ears, all the way into your jaw. Let go of any tension within your neck and your shoulders, and allow your head and shoulders to weigh heavy into the floor. Feel your hips sink as your belly stays soft. Allow your feet and your heels to ground into the earth. You should be in a rhythm of balanced breath, creating that perfect wave between your inhale, your yang breath, and your exhale, your yin breath, creating a balance between the masculine and feminine energies within, between the heat and the cool within, the light and the dark within. And since we are In the energy of spring, I invite you to begin to set an intention for your practice that reflects a new beginning, new growth, new expansion. Once you have your intention, connect it to your breath, breathing in, drawing your intention in through your third eye. And as you exhale, send your intention all the way down into your heart space. Inhale through your third eye, bringing awareness to your intention. Exhale, send it into your heart to be felt. Notice what emotions come up with your intention. Is it excitement, joy, enthusiasm? Use your next 3 breaths to focus your breath on your intention, breathing in life to your intention, making it alive within you. And with every exhale, infusing every single cell within your body. You can gently blink your eyes open. Turn your head slowly from side to side, waking up your neck. If you had your knees bent, you can extend your legs out nice and slow. Inhale, arms reach up and back behind you. Interlace your fingers, point your toes. Take a long body stretch. Exhale, bring your knees in towards your chest. Hug your knees in. Maybe curl your forehead up to meet your knees. Squeeze into a tight little ball. You can release your head and shoulders back down onto the floor. We're going to come into our first pose of today's practice, and I'll give you a couple of options for this pose. So you can choose full wind reliever, where your knees are in towards your chest just as you are, hands above the knees. You can rest your hands behind your hamstrings, or you can wrap your arms and catch a hold of wrists or elbows on top of your shins. We're creating compression through the front part of the hips here. You can take this a little bit further and target 2 areas by coming into happy baby. With your hands on top of your knees, bring your knees as wide as they come. We're still creating compression through the front part of the hip flexors, but this time you are inviting a nice stretch and stress through the tissue of the inner thighs. So you can bring your elbows through the inside edges of your legs, catch a hold of the ankles, the outside edges of your feet, or your peace fingers can wrap around your big toes. This is the first of our poses. Our bodies may still feel a little bit tight. However, if you have the flexibility and without lifting any part of your spine off of the floor, you may shift into a full expression of happy baby, bringing the foot soles to face the ceiling, continuing to connect your shoulders into the floor, and drawing your knees close towards the floor on either side of your torso. You can hold here, closing your eyes, focusing on your balanced breath, connecting to how the inhale slightly shifts you within your posture, and how your exhale grounds you within this posture. Yin is an introspective and meditative practice. It gives you time to spend within a pose that allows or creates a little bit of stress through the tissue to ultimately stimulate and activate energetic flow through the tissue. More specifically through the fascia and the connective tissue, where it is believed that the energy meridians lie or run through. And because we're in the season of spring, I found it fitting to work with the traditional Chinese medicine element of wood and the associated meridian networks with it, which is the liver and the gallbladder. The liver is the yin, and the gallbladder is the yang meridian networks of this element of wood. Your mind, in comparison to your body, is very young in nature, and naturally, through our day-to-day, likes to take control and take the wheel. So this is an opportunity to rest your mind and allow your mind to just be a witness or an observer of the posture that you're in and of all of the unravelings that happen within your body as you hold your pose and as you release your pose. There are three main principles in yin. The first one is finding your edge. I like to call this edge the sweet spot, allowing your body to come into this space where it naturally stops, and knowing that that's where your boundary and your limit is at this time. Your mind is meeting your body where it is, and it's sitting within the space and enjoying the experience. You want to feel some sort of stress on the tissue. If you feel too much stress on the tissue, you've gone too far. And if you don't feel any stress on the tissue, then you haven't gone far enough. And again, listen to your body. Your body will naturally stop you where it's meant to stop. The second principle of yin is time. We hold these postures for anywhere between 3 and 10 minutes, but in this class specifically, we'll be holding for 3 minutes. It is said that we need a minimum of 3 minutes to access or activate the energy flow through meridian networks within our body. Sort of like acupuncture, where they put needles within these meridian points. We're doing something similar, but creating flow through compression and through stress and through stillness, which brings us to the third principle of yin, which is stillness. Once you've found your edge, be still. Avoid fidgeting, avoid moving, avoid adjusting unless you are feeling pain. It's important to know the difference between discomfort and pain. Discomfort is where we can sit and allow ourselves to find growth. Discomfort is welcomed in yin and in anything that you experience that is new. Pain, however, is something that is not welcomed, and it's your body letting you know that if you continue to hold or you continue to force yourself into a space or a position, you may injure yourself. And this is where it's up to you to listen to your body and discern what is discomfort and what is pain. You may very slowly, with the next few breaths, release, bringing your knees to bend. If your legs were lifted, release your feet. Extend your legs long or plant your feet, walk them wide, allow your knees to fall into each other. We'll hold here in this space of neutrality where we're placing no tension on the body at all, so that you may have a moment to connect with the rebound effect of your yin posture. This is called the rebound pose. And it is within this space that you feel the absolute magic of what yin can do for you. This is where you can connect with your energy body. You can listen to the subtle sensations that reside beneath your skin, within your tissue. You may notice tingling sensations or vibrations. Maybe it presents as a pulsation. Maybe you feel a sensation of hot or cool. Maybe there's something else that comes up for you. Your rebound pose can offer you that experience of energetic release through physical sensation, but also through emotional and mental or spiritual. So when we do come to this space, I will offer you that moment of silence so that you may connect. Take 2 more breaths here. You can bend your knees if you extended your legs. This time you'll shift your tailbone towards your heels, keep your left foot planted on the floor, and cross your right ankle over top of your left knee, creating a figure 4 shape through the legs. You can stay here. This time we're targeting the outer line of the hip, or you may invite your leg in towards your chest. Fingers can wrap behind your hamstring or above your shin. Relax and soften your feet. And notice where you feel the sensation. If you are here and your upper back is arching and your spine is not resting on the floor, then you've gone too far. Just know that when you do come into your posture and you come to hold stillness, stillness is relative because our bodies are moving and shifting with every breath. And with every exhale, we are finding depth. We are finding a little bit more space. So you'll find that your body begins to ground with more ease and your body comes into a deeper expression that you're exploring through the pose that we're in. As long as you're not forcing yourself into a space that your body's not ready to get into. Now, this pose, you may notice a little bit more tension. You may experience a little more sensation through the tissue. If you feel any emotions come up, especially of anger, frustration, or irritation, as we move through today's practice, and you know that you are releasing blockages through the meridian networks that we're working with, more in particular, the liver meridian network. Spring is a time where we experience rebirth, regrowth, and expansion. All of the energy that was being held and harnessed within the earth during the winter is now expanding and bursting through the earth as we see through the budding of trees, the growing of grass, and the flowering of flowers. We see and experience it in nature as life begins to emerge. Yang energy is rising. We have heat rising through nature, and we'll experience the same within our bodies. As we move through spring, we work with the element of wood, which has attributes of moldability, expansion, and flexibility. Take 1 more breath here. Very, very slowly, using 2 or 3 breaths to get there, find your rebound pose. Whichever pose you prefer, staying on your back. You'll be walking your feet out this time, allowing your knees to fall into each other, or finding extended legs. And in this rebound, as you connect within, notice When the sensations begin to rise and expand within your body, at what point they reach their peak, when they begin to fall until they become a little bit more quiet. And relate this rise and fall in sensation to how everything has a rise and fall in nature. Starting with something as simple as our breath, relating that to the seasons. Your inhale is a mirror of spring, and the peak of your breath is a mirror of summer, where energy is at its highest point. Your exhale mirrors fall, and the bottom of your exhale mirrors winter, when everything is quiet and empty. The sensations within your body have the same rhythm. If you can pay close enough attention, you'll be able to sense and feel this cycle. Take one more full breath. And then you can walk your feet back in. Keep your tailbone shifted towards your heels. And this time we'll cross our left ankle over top of our right knee. Relax the foot. Choose how deep your body will allow you to experience this pose without feeling too much strain. Once you've found your space, hold still. You can use typically the first 20 to 30 seconds to adjust your body as needed. But once you've found that space, just hold. Avoid moving, avoid fidgeting. If you are fidgeting and you've noticed that you are feeling restless, then perhaps your mind is still hanging on to control. Give your mind permission to relax and to sit back. Give your body permission to guide you through this experience. Sometimes giving yourself permission is all you need in order to shift into this space where you find a little bit more surrender and softness and suppleness through the body, suppleness through the mind. Giving your mind an opportunity to just meditate. Coming back to the breath every time it tries to escape the experience. Use your breath as an anchor. Imagine that with every inhale, you're drawing in clean, pure energy. And with every exhale, you're releasing energy that is holding you back from a new experience, from being present. You can use your exhales as a portal of release for what is not serving you well at this time. Take 2 more breaths here. Very slowly let your legs go. Plant your foot using one breath. Uncrossing your legs. Using your next breath. Finding whatever position you can stay neutral in. Notice, do the sensations feel similar or different from the previous side? Take one more breath. From here, we're going to slowly make our way up into a seat. You can bring your knees in towards your chest. If you had a lot of pent-up yang energy and you felt quite fidgety, you can hug your knees in, maybe rock and roll up and down your spine until you come all the way up. Otherwise, you can roll onto your side and make your way up that way as well. From here, you can sit in the center of your mat, and we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So you'll bring your legs as wide as they go. We're targeting, once again, inner lines of the legs. Soften your feet. Bring your hands to the floor in front of you. So you can close your eyes and just connect with the sensation. Inhale. And exhale, soften, melt yourself closer to the floor. As with every spring, becomes a time to plant seeds for harvest and to look ahead at future plans and to make new plans accordingly, to bring new ideas to life. This is a time to take action, to be courageous, to be optimistic, and of course to be flexible. When we have a balanced wood element, our positive virtues are having drive and motivation, feeling creativity pulse through us, having the ability to change, adapt, and transform, being future focused and future oriented, having confidence, ambition, and insight. When we are imbalanced, it can manifest and present as anger, frustration, and stress, resentment, lack of drive and avoidance. And these are typically a result of repressing emotions. This is also a result of hanging on to the frustration that one can feel when embarking on something new. Anger is an interesting emotion. I don't think it's a bad emotion. I don't think frustration is a bad emotion either. I think that sometimes we need anger, frustration, and irritation to sort of shake us out of the comfort that we're in so that we can step into something new. It's almost like a motivating force to push us to make a change. And those are the emotions that are associated with the liver. So when we hang on to anger, and we hang on to frustration, and we hang on to irritation, we tend to create blocks within our body, and we tend to find this space of stagnation where we feel stuck. And we no longer have that motivation. But if you can use that energy to motivate you to take a chance at changing something or being flexible or adaptable in some way, then you can transform that into wisdom and optimism for future experiences. Very slowly come out of your pose. Press yourself up. You can stay here if you'd like. You can sit cross-legged. You can extend your legs out in front of you, or you can lay on your back. You can sit in your neutral pose, holding a childlike curiosity as you sense and feel what moves through you. Allowing your mind to bear witness. Take one more breath in your rebound pose. And if you came down onto your back, you can bring yourself all the way back up. We'll have one more pose in seated, and then we're going to come back down onto our backs. So for this one, we're going to target the bottoms of the feet. If you have plantar fasciitis or very, very tight feet, you don't have to do this pose. However, try your best to come into a space where you just feel a little bit of discomfort, because stretching the fascia of the feet is very beneficial in helping to release that over time. It's just going to take time. So you can bring your hands to the floor in front of you, tuck your toes, pull your pinky toes under as well. And then you can come to sit on your heels if you're quite flexible. Otherwise, keep your hands on the floor in front of you, and you can adjust the depth of how far you'd like to experience this posture. If you are all the way up onto your heels, ask yourself and be honest. Are you sitting on your heels because your feet are open enough and you can handle it? This is your edge and your body has guided you to this point. Or are you sitting on your heels because your mind is trying to challenge your body? If it's the latter, release out of it slightly. As you've noticed, 3 minutes is a long time to spend in a pose. And it does create quite a bit of intensity if you have gone too far. As I mentioned earlier, the two meridian networks that sort of coincide yang-yin with the element of wood is the liver and the gallbladder. The liver is said to be the dwelling place of the soul before it ascends to heaven in traditional Chinese medicine. And it is said also to be the space that holds a vision. That holds a vision and that helps us with strategic planning. It governs our mental and spiritual eye and helps us to create the intention or the seed that we wish to plant within our lives that we'd like to see grow to fruition, that we can harvest at some point. Whether it's an idea or a seed that you're planting in terms of career or love or self-development. The gallbladder, on the other hand, is the space that houses courage. It is associated with decision-making and direction and sound judgment. And although the gallbladder is the yang of the meridian networks and the liver is the yin, the gallbladder is considered to be an extraordinary organ or an extraordinary meridian network because it deals with yin and yang. It is the only one that does not transport impure fluids. It doesn't release impure fluids. It moves pure fluids through the body, which is considered yin energy. Take one more breath. You can shift forward very slowly. Come out of this posture as slowly as possible so that you maintain that yin state within your mind and within your body. And when you shift out, very gently untuck your toes and just allow the tops of your feet to rest. You'll notice not only the sensations through the bottoms of your feet, but maybe perhaps all the way up through the backs of your knees and your hips, and maybe even all the way into your lower back. Now from here, you can lower down onto your tummy and experience the rest of your rebound pose on your stomach. And take one more full breath here. Then we'll roll all the way onto our back. Bend your knees and shift your tailbone once again towards your heels. Flatten your back onto the floor. From here, we're going to come into supine twist. So you can keep your feet together, bring your arms out to cactus or to a T if you have the space. Shift your hips over to the left side of your mat and drop your knees to the right. You can keep your knees stacked. You can cross your top knee on top of your lower knee, or you can take the reverse cross with your bottom ankle on top of your upper thigh. Either variation is fine as long as you are not feeling overly twisted. If you are, keep your knees stacked. If you have a pillow with you, you can stick a pillow between your legs to help create a little bit more neutrality through the hips. And then when you're ready, if it feels okay, you can exhale, turn your gaze over top of your left shoulder. Draw and trace your breath up and down your spine. With every inhale, drawing the breath from the base of your spine all the way up to the crown of your head. And with every exhale, imagining that breath or that energy that was cultivated and generated, expanding out through every single cell within your body. Take 2 more breaths here. Very mindfully feeling every shift within your body. Bring yourself into your rebound pose, taking on a very neutral shape, allowing your body to rest for a moment. Noticing what comes up for you at this time. One more breath. Then you may very slowly shift into twist on the other side. Bending your knees first to plant your feet, extending your arms out and shifting your hips in the opposite direction that you'll drop the knees. So this time we'll shift the hips to the right as we drop our knees to the left. And maybe turn our gaze over top of our right shoulder. 3 more breaths. Very slowly and mindfully unraveling your twist, releasing your spine, bringing your hips back to center, finding whatever rebound pose feels good for your body at this time. Let's take one more pose before our final Shavasana. This last pose will bring the foot soles to touch and allow our knees to open up like a book, bringing the heels close in towards the groin, creating a diamond shape with the legs. You can keep your hands on your belly. You can rest your hands on your inner thighs if you want a little extra weight for this opening. Or you can bring your arms to cactus or reach them overhead to open through the heart as well. Take a slow, deep breath here. And exhale, soften. Relax your glutes, relax your thighs. This pose has to be the most vulnerable pose in yoga, in my opinion. Because every part of our body that we normally close off on when we are feeling anxious or scared is completely exposed. Is exposed and open to receiving energy, to receiving light. From our root and sacral chakras to our solar plexus, which is the space of our personal power and motivation and drive, to our heart chakra, which many of us keep caged off, as we come into the space of reopening our throat chakra, our third eye, and our crown. Notice how it feels to hold this pose of vulnerability. And remind yourself that it is safe to be in this space. When you can hold a space of vulnerability and own it, it's part of the growing pains that we experience when we are moving into something new. When we take a risk, when we take a leap of faith. To have courage means to lead with your heart. Keep your chin up. Notice if you're hanging on to tension within your glutes, and ask your glutes to soften and relax with your next exhale. Take 3 more breaths, maybe connecting to your intention for these last 3 breaths, the intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. When you are ready to come out of your pose, you may come straight into your shavasana, whether you'd like to experience that laying on your back, on your side, or on your tummy. Take some slow, deep breaths and extend the tail of your exhale this time, releasing your samavriti and moving into a more yin-like breath. So if your inhale is 4 counts, allow your exhale to be 5, 6, 7, or even 8 counts. As you rest in your final pose, scan through your body and notice if there is anything left to be released. Start at the crown of your head. Your eyebrows or your temples. Check in and around your eyes and your ears. Relax your cheeks, your nose, your lips, and your teeth. Soften your jaw and your neck muscles. Shoulders, arms, fingers. Chest, back body, belly. Relax and soften through your hips, your thighs, your lower legs, your ankles, and your feet all the way to your toes. Give yourself the space and this time to be still and to find silence. This is where your entire practice becomes integrated within your body, within your mind, and within your life. I'll bring you back when it's time. You may stay here longer if you need.